Hello guys, welcome back to Constram GIS. So today we are going to do a simple process of classification of time zones around the world. And to do that exercise, we need two data sets: a continent shapefile showing all the world continents. That I will provide the link in the description below on how to download that, and the time zones around the world. These are the time zones we have around the world, and there are 24 time zones that are separated by 1 hour from Asia to America. So to do this exercise, we need to clip these time zones within our continents, and we are going to use ArcGIS Pro to do that exercise. So let's go down and start the exercise. It's a pretty simple process to do, and it will take just a couple of minutes. So to start this, you're going to go to this ribbon up here and click analysis, and you'll see pairwise clip, which will extract input features that overlay the clip features. We'll click on that, and a window here will open. Let me drag it to the middle. So on the input feature, I'm going to input the time zones, and on the clip features, I'm going to input the continents. So the output feature class, I'm going to save it to my local file folder where I'll be working with. So you can click on this folder file, but I'm to direct you to your default directory, but I will not do that. I will not save it. So I'm going to click run. So it's going to take a few minutes so that we can have our time zones within the continents, and you can see it has completed. So I'm going to close this window, and then I'm going to uncheck the original time zones. So you can see it has clipped the time zones within the boundaries of our continents. So what to do for our end user to use this data of ours, we need to classify these time zones into 24 zones, because we have 24 zones. So we are going to right click on the new file that we saved, and under symbology, we'll click on that. So on this window, under primary symbology, we have a drop down arrow. So let's click on it, and we're going to go to graduated colors. So this is going to provide a color scheme that is going to divide these zones into the number of classes that you're going to assign. And for us, we're going to assign 24 classes so that we can have 24 time zones that are separated by 1 hour. So under field, I'm going to input the zone, because that's what we are very interested in. Because if we check our attribute table, you will see that we have quite a number of fields, and if you scroll to your right, you can see we have the zones here, we have the formats, time zones, the ISO, places, and so on. So what I'm very interested in is the zones, the time zones. So I'll just close this one, and the field will be zone. And a normalization, we usually work with the percentage of a certain field, but for this one, there's no need for any percentage, so I'm going to check to select none. The method of classification, how you classify your data, is very important. You have to choose the right classification method, and there are quite a couple of them. We have natural breaks, quantile, equal interval, and so on. So for this data, I'm going to use the quantile classification method that will equally classify the features, and it's best for this kind of data. You have to understand the data you are working with so that you can determine the type of classification you're going to work with. And this one, there's no class that is going to be empty, so it's convenient for this. Under the number of classes, I'm going to input 24. So choosing a color scheme is also very important, because you have to take the end user, how is he going to how they are going to interpret this type of data that you're going to produce. And you have to be very careful with this scalar lamp. So I'm also going to share a link on an article on how to choose the best color scheme. So for these, I'll prefer to have a dark color at both ends that are quite different. So that this user can know if this is black, this has to be a different color, but in here the color will be varying. And also when you are doing this type of classification, you should be very careful with using some colors together, especially red and green. For those individuals who have a difference in the difficulty in differentiating red and green, it will not be very convenient for them. So I'm going to click on this drop down arrow, and I will just select a color that will best represent my end results. So I'm going to go with let's see, with this one. So there are a lot of options you can do with this data. You can always format color scheme, do your own build your own color lamps so that you can work with. But for me, I'm just going to use the default one, so I won't be formatting any. So after I've chosen this one, you can see under classes I have quite some values. You can also see on my contents. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove these. I'm going to set these values to a specific number of digits. So on your symbology, the last symbol, it's called advanced symbology options. So we'll click on that, and on format labels, the category, we are working with numeric. So but if you're working with the data that requires percentages, like maybe population or any other data, so you'll check on this depending. If you're working with some business data, you need currency. So I'm going to check the numeric. Under rounding, I'm going to select significant figures, so that I am eliminating the decimal places that won't be necessary. So significant digits, let me input 4, and then yeah, it will be good. So the data has been rounded to 4 significant digits. So you can close this window, and here you have 24 time zones separated from Asia to America. So you can always see from here. If you check on our yellow is the highest time zone, and it's true because if you actually get some information about the highest time zone, we have it in China, and China is in the east part of our world. So, and the list is towards the west, where we have South and North America. So that is it for today. It's a simple classification method.